go!
Fantastic Beasts, the sequel, is a movie that is less about Fantastic Beasts than the first, and the first only had Fantastic Beasts as a side plot, and that annoys me because, as you can see, I'm a lover of Pokemon, Totoro, Lovecraft, fantasy, science fiction, literature, I love Fantastic Beasts, creatures that are strange. And that's what sold me about the Fantastic Beasts movie, right? It's like in the Harry Potter universe, it's in the Wizarding World universe, and it's about Fantastic Beasts. Now, the problem I have with these movies, maybe that's just me, but I think it's not just me, is that it's about who the fuck are those people? Fantastic Beasts 2 is about who the fuck is Credence. They should have just called the movie Who the Fuck is Credence, because that's the movie. And the first one was about who the fuck is Grindelwald, okay? Check. Now, the creatures that are in the movie, we have the Kelpie, which is really cool. It's like a horse made out of seaweed, made out of kelp. And it's amazing. It's really well done. And it's just there for like, I don't know, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. There's like a moose with a giant mouth, which is really cool. And then we have stuff like nifflers, things we've already seen. A thing, when Newt goes to Paris, to the dangerous zone where Grindelwald is and all the spooky stuff is going on, he writes a letter to his assistant saying, "I took the nifflers. I'll be back." First of all, there's baby nifflers, which are, as you know, kleptomaniac platypuses, and it's just annoying and chaotic. But there's more than one, which makes it more annoying and chaotic. But they don't serve a purpose in the movie, and you don't ever see them besides the introduction scene, there's a scene in the house where they steal stuff and it's all like, oh, you gotta catch the babies, which is kind of okay, but then you never see them again, even though Newt writes a letter saying, I took the nifflers, he just took them and you never see them again. But the rest of the creatures, the giant mouth moose, the seaweed horse, there's a giant bird, which is really cool, which was in the trailer as well, of course, which led you to believe that it would be important, but it's not. He could have taken, like, any of the creatures that could have helped him in some way. Instead, he just took some baby platypuses, and he doesn't even do anything with them. Maybe also important is that this movie is about Credence, as I said. I don't think Credence is a very interesting character, maybe just because he's played. Don't get me wrong, I really love the actor Ezra Miller, I really love him. But Credence is just not really interesting to me. Something is very important about Credence. But we could have told this story, the second movie, we could have told this story in like, I don't know, like 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, because it's just Credence goes to a place, finds out who he is, some people tell him he's something or someone, and then he's someone else. We could have just told that story in like 15 to 20 minutes, but the rest of the plot is just like, it's just filler. It's just, a person goes to a place, and then something happens, but it's not important, so they go to another place. It's a very annoying movie to me, as I said, because it's a very short story, it's elongated, it feels artificially elongated just because movies need to take about 2 hours. Now, coming back to the creatures, there's a really cool scene in the movie that I really like, but it's really short because the important and cool stuff is really short, as always. There's a zoo. Sawo, Sawo, Sawo. There is a creature in the movie that's like Asian in design, kind of Chinese dragon, but it's furry. It's really cool. Now, Newt says something about him traveling like 1,500 kilometers in one day, right? Because, you know, I'm from Belgium, we use kilometers, we're not idiots. The thing is, like, he also says, almost in the same breath, he says, like, the Zowo can take you from one end to Paris to the other in one leap, you know? Okay, so Paris is about 12.5, 12.6 kilometers wide, which means that the Zowo can jump, you know, in one leap he can go 12.6 kilometers. The thing with that is, like, he would travel 8 jumps would take him like 1,500 kilometers. Anyway, it's about 1,000, but whatever. I'm not a mathematician, so let's say like 11. The thing with that is, like, he would jump like twice an hour and he would take 1,500 kilometers. So he's probably gonna go faster than that. So anyway, movies can't do science, I can't do science, whatever. I didn't believe it. It's like a really cool, angry looking creature, and then they just have this thing for cats that they can, you know, like a stick that they can ring, and instantly it becomes friendly because that's how creatures work. I don't know, the first movie had that rhino with like the sex thing, and sometimes creatures don't work in these movies. So back to Credence and Grindelwald is very important because that's the main story. Grindelwald has a really cool introduction scene where you see like he's escaping prison in like the smart way, in like, oh, he takes over bodies, he snatches things, he puts people underwater in a flying carriage. It's really cool. So we think like, oh my god, Grindelwald, yeah, he's gonna do some cool shit, you know? He doesn't. He just, the rest of the movie is just Grindelwald standing in a place, speaking some words, and just leaving the room. Yep. Okay. And then we talk about Credence, of course, and Credence is just, he's in a circus now, I guess. He meets Nagini in the circus. Nagini is like the snake from Voldemort, you know, the thing. It's been a while since I saw those movies. But the thing with Nagini is like she's cursed and she can transform between the snake and the human at any point at will, kind of. But you know, as time progresses, because she's cursed, one time she will transform into a snake and not be able to transform back. That's kind of how her design works and how her entire aesthetic is, because she's like dressed in kind of like a snaky dress, and her makeup is kind of snaky. Anyway, so Nagini is kind of cool, but she never really does anything. Like, she escapes the circus with Credence, and then they become kind of like a thing, a love interest. I don't know, it's like a sidekick. Nobody knows. So yeah, Nagini doesn't do anything interesting. She just stands around, she just leads them to a place, or they walk together to a place, and then... Well, one time she's transforming between snake and human, kind of, in like 5 seconds. So that's 5 seconds of great movie. So yeah, they don't really do anything. So that's Grindelwald not really doing anything. That's Nagini really not doing anything. Jacob. What's his name? Kowalski. Kowalski's really not doing anything. Kowalski's having some trouble with his love interest, and it's going nowhere as well. She joins the dark side because the dark side, you know, Grindelwald tells him that, oh, we just want to be free, and we just want to be loved, and we just want to be loved, and we want to have love, and, you know, and she thinks like, okay, cool, yeah, whatever. But Kowalski doesn't want it, of course, because Kowalski has like a moral compass that's kind of okay. Like, a lot of people in this movie are like super evil or super good, but Kowalski's kind of, yeah, kind of a person that you can believe. So she joins to the dark side, which is, sad. But yeah, so Grindelwald is basically like, they call this movie the Crimes of Grindelwald, the Crimes of Grindelwald, the Crimes. But he does no crimes. He does like kind of crimes by talking other people into doing crimes. But this movie was like, the start is really cool. Then there's a lot of talking, a lot of nonsense. There's a lot of stuff about the Lestrange family, kind of famous. But it also goes nowhere. It's like, a lot of the movie is about the Lestrange family and like, ooh, Credence. But then that doesn't go anywhere. So I think a lot of the movie is like a lot of smaller movies just put in there just because they didn't have enough story. So, let's sum up. Grindelwald is kind of Credence is kind of I forgot her name. Nagini is kind of Kowalski is kind of nice. Oh yeah, Newt has an assistant now in his house where she takes care of the animals when he's gone, even though I think the animals are in his suitcase, but they're in a house. So, I don't know. Other people are kind of There's a black guy. There's a white guy. Nah, I think all the main characters are doing nothing in this movie. Dumbledore is an important factor in this movie. Dumbledore and Grindelwald are kind of, as you might know, Grindelwald and Dumbledore are kind of like smoochy smooch. And then they just made like a blood vow, that they weren't going to hurt each other if something was going to happen between them, if they would break up, I guess. I don't know how relationship work. But yeah, that's why Dumbledore says to Newt, like, you have to move against Grindelwald because I can't, because they promised each other that they wouldn't. Either I missed something, or it's just stupid, because Dumbledore could have moved against Grindelwald. He's a really good magician as well. But he just doesn't want to, because, they're smooch. So that doesn't work. Dumbledore doesn't work. I don't really like Dumbledore in this movie. Jude Law is a great actor, don't get me wrong, but it just doesn't work. He doesn't do anything. He's not really important. He's a really cool magician. I always say magician, but that's not true. They're wizards, because magicians, they do like the on-stage fakery, and wizards do the real fakery. Magic's kind of important, I guess. It's part of the story, it's part of the wizarding world. A lot of people can do magic. The thing is, like, wasn't it established 10 years ago or something that only high-level, wizards can do magic stuff without saying the words of the spells? Because that's what I thought it would be, because I thought that was established, that was a thing. But no, now random people can do it as well. Like, you see that guy selling fish on the market, he's just... and it works. So that's kind of strange, The magic in this world is also a lot larger in scale, I guess. Like, Grindelwald just does a simple spell, I guess. We never see him do it, but he does a spell, and the entire city of Paris gets, all of the houses get blinded by curtains, really giant curtains. And I guess that, on one hand, that's really cool. But on the other hand, like this one, how does that work? We see Dumbledore creating fog in an entire city. But that's really strange, because does that mean that anyone can change the weather? Does that mean that only Dumbledore can change the weather? There's no rules anymore, and that's strange. At the end of the final fight, I call it fight because Grindelwald just talks for like 20 minutes and then he makes one spell, which is blue fire, and then everyone counters it with red fire. Yeah, that's really strange to me, but the final fight has one spell, you know, as I said, of Grindelwald. How does that work as well? Because Grindelwald disappears and the spell is just going on its own, I guess. Does it have a conscience? Because it looks like 3 or 4 dragons. That's stupid. And then, oh yeah, Nicolas Flamel is there. Nicolas Flamel shows up out of fucking nowhere. Out of nowhere. They're in a house. It's a safe house. I suppose it's Nicolas Flamel's house, but it's never stated. And then, out of nowhere, he just... Here's what he does. This is a house. Hi, I'm Nicolas Flamel. That's the thing. That's the thing. And then he just goes like, he goes to extend his hand at Jacob, like they're like, hello, I'm Nicolas Flamel. Jacob is like, and Nicolas Flamel bones break, I guess. And then he just says like, oh yeah, I'm an alchemist, therefore I am immortal. Which is strange. Does that mean that every alchemist is immortal? Or is every immortal an alchemist? Because Nicolas Flamel has the Philosopher's Stone, we can see it in his closet. But the wording is just really strange, you know, like, hey, I'm immortal because I'm an alchemist. That's weird. And also, if you are immortal, you know, if you are immortal, why does your bones break? Why do your bones break? That doesn't sound immortal to me. Anyway, so Nicolas Flamel is like, I haven't done magic in 200 years. And then he does magic, and it's really good. I think that's just strange, isn't it? Like, if you haven't used a bike in 200 years, you might stop learning how to ride a bike. They say you never stop learning how to ride a bike, but I think you do after 200 years, you might, you know. Also, who is Nicolas Flamel talking to? He's talking to a book. And the book tells him to go do magic. But we never know who these people are in the book, because the movie never tells us anything. Three out of 5. 3 out of 5 is a lot. Now the visuals are cool. 3 out of 10, that's better. Yeah. 3 Dorians out of 10 possible Dorians. I'm out.